Getting ready to go live here, and right now, Larry Little and I. Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Hey, Mark, where the heck are you?
I am at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, and I know
Okay.
it takes a few minutes for all the streams to go live. I see they're going live on Facebook and on LinkedIn right now, and Twitter, and just takes a few minutes. And so we'll just sort of hang out here for a minute, Larry. But can you see
Sounds good,
some of the
Mark.
stuff going on behind me here? I'm out here at the runway at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport.
Yeah, Mark, I can see the control tower in the background there, and
Yep.
looking for some airplanes to take off. And I just hope you don't get hit by a bolt of lightning while we're doing this broadcast
That'd
this
be
morning.
good. There's a little bit of cloud cover here. There was some rain this morning, but for those of you that are just joining us, I'm here at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, and it's really kind of cool because the Metropolitan Airport Commission has the aircraft viewing area, and literally there's a parking lot here. That's like 20 feet from the taxiway, so it's just a really fantastic place for people to go and to watch airplanes taking off.
So, Mark, is it busy there, or how much traffic are you seeing going in and out of there?
Yeah, I'm seeing quite a bit of airplanes coming in and out. I mean, it's not like Chicago O'Hare or anything like that in the
Yeah.
busy season, but I'm seeing probably one aircraft taking off every minute or so, behind me.
Okay. Okay. Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
as I recall, you have some experience kind of working around that area and working in Minneapolis.
Yeah. So part of my career, going back a couple of years, as I worked at Northwest Airlines, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I started my career at McDonnell Douglas working on military aircraft, but then I went to the airline, to Northwest Airlines.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just go ahead.
no, actually, I joined them and went into engineering, and I was working on special projects and stuff like that. Was putting cargo doors in some old airplanes. But one of the really cool things I did, Larry, when I was there, was I was specking out new airplanes. And this would be
Ah.
interesting to you. Is I spec'd out the first 747 400 that Northwest Airlines took, and that was about in wow, that was probably 1988. Is what it
Wow.
was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it
And
was really interesting.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's just really interesting. I learned a lot about the airplanes and the options and the specs and the things that you could do, the things you could put on the airplane, a lot of different things about it.
Well, that's kind of timely too, because just this week I read that Boeing, no longer is producing 747s in any shape or form, which is, I think, a little bit sad. But what an amazing airplane!
Yeah, I guess, Larry, you saw them at being in manufacture your entire career at Boeing then.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think we all enjoyed the flying experience up on that upper deck, and
Yeah.
like I said, just an amazing airplane.
Yeah, I got some airplanes taking off behind me. There goes an American Airlines airplane right there behind me right now.
Oh, yeah. I can see that. Great, great.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen American and Delta and Frontier and Spirit. I've only been out here about a half an hour, and I've seen every one of them, taking off behind me here right now. But
Well,
hey,
go ahead.
well, I was just going to say the cool thing after that, after I was in special projects, is they gave me technical publications at Northwest Airlines. It wasn't all of it, but I had about half of it, and
Yeah.
and so I began to learn as a consumer of publications and supporting documentation. The importance of having good documentation. But Larry, we were in a complete paper world then. There wasn't any digital. Well, it was very little digital.
Right. Well, it's just been an interesting journey over the past, when you were in Minneapolis working for Northwest to today to see, to see all the paper go away and to move to from paper to PDF to, now online delivery right at the airplane.
Yeah, hey Larry, do you remember back when Boeing started doing the 777, and isn't that when they started doing SGML data was on the 777?
Yeah, that was really one of the first places where it was, started at the very beginning of the the build process, if you will, is implementation of SGML and also some of the XML data as well. That SGML sort of permeated back to the 37 and 57 and 67, but the widespread use of it and also the intelligent data kind of got its roots there and went forward.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked is because at Northwest Airlines, we had some of the similar authoring systems that Boeing had. Those are the really early authoring systems. We had the context, Mentor graphics context system. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that one, Mark. That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, that's what they were
Okay.
using to do. They were using that to do authoring of the SGML. I think it was I think it was at least for the 777, I think,
Okay.
and that was the system that at the time that was the most capable of doing SGML authoring. And so, the reason I'm bringing this up is that we had started, doing structured graphics markup language. We started doing, tagged languages to be able to create intelligent data for publications at that time. We were following suit with what Boeing was doing. The bad news is that they went out of business, and Boeing, kind of funded them and took it over because they had so much invested in development of SGML on that platform.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I know that
Yeah,
Boeing kind of moved to their own internal system for being able to publish those documents through a system they called EMOD, and to be able to build and
okay.
customize and distribute documents. Yeah, yeah. But
What the point was is that when
that move from
well, I was just
PDF
going to
to
say
SG. Yeah, yeah.
well, go ahead, Larry. Please go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead. Please.
that move from to be able to move from PDF to SGML, and then on to XML, and then to be at where we're at today with S1000D capabilities has really, really improved the efficiency and safety of the fleet.
Yeah, absolutely. Got some more airplanes taking off there behind me right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Hey,
So Mark,
the thing is that well, one of the things that was really cool for me, though, and the reason I brought up that I was working at Northwest Airlines is because I learned really, what it meant to engineering is that I managed the task card writers at that time in a mainframe system, and I managed technical publications in the engine shop and in all the component shops and a lot of different areas, internal manuals, things like that. And I understood the challenges that we had in managing, those kind of large volumes of data. And it was really important that we moved into a digital environment. So one of the initiatives I had when I was there many years ago was to put focus on, moving things really into digital data. And the crazy thing, Larry, is that I'm telling you, that was 22 plus years ago. Okay.
right.
It was more than that. It was 40 years ago. I can't, my math isn't so good. Anyway, the crazy thing is, Larry, is we've been working on this for a long, long time. And the amazing thing is that we have now arrived at a place in the industry where all the factors that are necessary to be able to achieve these digital environments have come together.
And you're right, Mark. You and I have been working and carrying this crusade, if you will, for many, many years about helping people,
Totally a crusade.
A crusade to make that digital transformation. And it turns out now is a perfect time to make that transition. For so many reasons that we've talked about over the past couple of months since we've been doing these broadcasts. But if you're not going to do it now, you're never going to be able to make the change.
Yeah. Hey, I want to remind our viewers out there today is that Larry and I are live right now. We do these live streams because we want to be able to engage with people, and we want to be able to answer comments and things online. And so, hey, if you would just give us a shout out. I see we got a bunch of people online right now. Give us a shout out in the comments down below and tell us where you are as a starting point. And then as we go on in the broadcast here today, we're going to take some questions live because we're going to get into talking about the industry, and we're going to talk about the importance of business and the importance of digital in the success of recovery in aviation. So, hey, give me a shout out on where you are in the comments, and ask us some questions here, Larry and I today. Larry and I both have 40 years working aviation and digital and making successful digital environments, and that's why we are trying to make our expertise and skills available to the world, really, and help people to be successful in doing the same thing. So anyway, that's just jump in and join us. So
Hey, Mark.
Larry, where did your digital journey start?
Oh gosh, my digital journey started probably about 15 years ago when I moved from the airplane structures sort of design build world into an IT world, and really focused on how do we do a better job delivering all this maintenance information to mechanics. And we kind of started that journey probably 15, 17 years ago with some products, and just had a passion for it, and really helping airlines understand the value of digital transformation, and leading them through that change has just been really rewarding and a fun time. Hey, Mark, but I want to go back to one thing you said. We want to talk a little bit about recovery. and what's going on in aviation today. Today, and I think through these broadcasts we try to do a little bit of current events and what's going on. And we all know the United press releases a couple of days ago of 36,000 people furloughed or laid off. But let me just share a few things that
potential in the fall.
Yeah. Just a few things that I picked up over the last couple of days that are just really amazing. I mean, in terms of recovery, airlines are adding routes and new destinations every day. Etihad 53 new destinations within the last week. LOT 85 new destinations are resuming service to 85 destinations. Wizz Air has the perfect business model for what's going on now. 23 new destinations this week, 12 last week, 55 the week before. They've kind of been called, having the crown of recovery from COVID. So, we're seeing a lot of airlines start to, and like we said, in June and July, start to add a lot more capacity to the route structure.
Larry, are we seeing? I thought it looked like there was maybe more recovery going on in the Europe and in the Asia regions than there was in the U.S. right now. Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, I think there is. In terms of capacity, within China, domestic capacity is about 95% of it was a year ago, which is just amazing. Europe is in terms, just to talking capacity, is slower, and I think but it's still leading the U.S. But the U.S., the capacity is coming up into 30-35% range of what it was a year ago, and it goes back to what we've talked about, is that the domestic market will recover faster, just because of the kind of the governmental barriers between people traveling within country, internationally.
Yeah. So you were seeing a couple of things there. You threw a statistic out there. You said that Asia is seeing some pretty significant improvement right now. You said 95%. Is that right?
They're actually back up to 90. I'm talking in terms of capacity, not necessarily how many people are flying, but capacity. They're 95% of what they were a year ago in terms of internal domestic capacity. That's within China, which is just amazing, right? I mean,
it is. It really is.
Yeah. So, like we've talked about, all along, what's going on here? Domestically, people are flying again. There's a lot of personal safety procedures that have been put in place, and people feel more comfortable making that flight. I think we're also seeing continued growth in the business area that we've talked about, and continued recovery, and people being more comfortable to fly in an 8-passenger King Air than they are on a 350-passenger 777. So,
Larry, definitely. Over the last month, we've been focusing on talking a lot about business aviation, and that's absolutely true. So the stats you were throwing around there were, talking about commercial aviation, but in business, we've seen even more of a significant recovery. So that's pretty exciting to be able to see that. But here today, we're kind of focusing on commercial, and it looks like things are moving forward. In Asia. Things are moving forward in Europe. Hey, just one little note. My friend Thanos up at Aerosoft, he tells me that he's going to go back and visit Greece here in a couple of weeks. And I told him, I said, I don't think they're letting people into Greece, from the U.S. right now. I'm not even sure. I don't think they are. But Canada basically has opened their borders, to flying to Europe. And so, it's country by country. There's different countries that are letting different things happen in different areas, but people are definitely starting to fly again. There's no question about it. I had to fly to get here to Minneapolis, of course.
Right. And as people get more used to interacting with the virus and the environment that we live in, I think people are getting more and more comfortable flying, and we're going to continue to see that. But like you and I have talked about a lot, Mark, even in today's business environment, there are opportunities for people, whether it be, in that domestic space or whether it be in the business space. Hey, Mark, I think we lost your video feed. There you are. And Mark,
hey, Larry, looks like I might have lost your audio.
Okay.
I'm not certain I can hear you right now.
Oh, okay, Mark. Can you? And we lost your video there for a second as well. But I think we're back now. But one thing we've talked about is there's continues to be business opportunities in today's world, and there continues to be opportunities to make that digital transformation and to grow your business. We talked about flight docs growing their business. There's so many opportunities out there.
Hey, Larry.
Yes. Can you hear me, Mark?
Hey, Larry, can you hear me? It looks like I might have lost your audio for just a minute there.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now, Mark. I think we're having a few technical difficulties with Mark being able to hear. So we'll work through that as a live broadcast. We'll try to work through that. Hey, Mark. Well, given where we're at with.
Hey, Larry, I was just checking to see if you can hear me. I was having a little trouble with our audio out here in the wind, I think.
Okay, I can hear you, Mark. Of course. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Yes.
Looks like we're having a little bit of difficulties. It might be the wind or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Going on out here. I'm not really sure.
I think so. So given those difficulties, Mark, maybe we should.
Well, that's inconvenient for us now, isn't it? Anything gives us a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, maybe we should say we're done for this morning because of the technical difficulties.
See if we can get ourselves back on.
Okay.
So, Larry, I was wondering if you can hear me now.
I can hear you now. Yes, Mark. Can you hear me? You cannot hear me.
Testing.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark. No problem.
Can't hear you. Looks like I've lost our audio.
All right. So I say we sign off for this morning and try it again next week.
All right,
All right.
Larry.
See you, Mark.